Welcome. Welcome to Community of Christ with the Shenandoah congregation in San Antonio, Texas. Community of Christ is a welcoming and loving faith community. We proclaim Jesus Christ and promote communities of joy, hope, love, and peace. Please take a moment and like our video, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything, and comment to tell us where you are joining us from. Keep our contact details and share with us how we can minister to your needs. Find more information at www.seaofchristsa.org. If you would like to view past services, follow this link on our website. We welcome you, we acknowledge you, and we love you. Shalom.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for that song just before everyone is hopefully not have to listen to me, but will listen to me. I'm glad to be here with you this morning. And as I look out into the sanctuary, I can see the fullness of God's love expressed in you and assume that it's the same for those who's streaming the service today. Now, you know this song that Lord prepare me for sanctuary. I know that as I was growing up, it was exciting in Creston, Iowa to go to church when we went to church more than one day or 1 hour. And it was comforting and exciting and wondering what was going to happen next when I could hear the tires hit the snow on the pavement. When we would pull up into Creston and park in front. And I was excited because I was going to get to see my friends who were there. And so back in those days, uh, believe it or not, I couldn't talk in the chapel, but neither could anybody else. So, I wasn't being discriminated against. But all of us kids would climb up on the railing or the stairway that went up to, I don't know what was up there, because only the priesthood, only the men went up there. There were no women called yet. So I don't really know what they were doing up there, what was up there. But anyway, we were listening to what was being said in the foyer and what was going to happen. And, you know, we'd go in and we'd sit down, and I was with my folks, and I would be looking at the chapel, the different parts, and I was wondering, when is Christ going to come out from behind one of those partitions? And what is he going to say to us? And how would I respond? Would I bow down to him and show my loyalty and dignity and love for him? Well, out of that experience, that is where I was baptized at. We had uh, ministers within that congregation who loved us so much and prepared themselves that they taught us more about Jesus Christ. And I can remember the day, and I've been thinking about this because of Daniel's baptism coming up. I was remembering that uh, Mr. Noble, when he uh, first, I was course baptized, and then we did confirmation right after that. When I shook his hand, because I wasn't brave enough yet then to hug him, I would just shake their hand. Didn't want to hug them because uh, I didn't want to insinuate anything, I guess. But anyway, back to seriousness now. Anyway, Mr. Noble, when I began to walk, before I walked away, he said, "Now it's your turn." And my eyes must have got as big as this. Uh-oh, what am I going to do now? Go and tell everyone about Jesus. And I've remembered that for a long time. However, I didn't do it for a long time. You know, I I enjoyed my 61 Chevy bored out to the 302, racing it down the highway. I enjoyed being a cheerleader. I enjoyed life, learned a lot, didn't necessarily do anything wrong as far as, I never ended up in jail or anything like that, thank goodness. But, um, I can remember now sitting in Anaheim when we had a service going. We were talking about repentance and forgiveness. And I've given you a little bit of my background so you'll understand this next statement. I was sitting there and I was all of it thinking about what that was being said. And all of a sudden, it was like my whole life was flashing before me. And I pinched myself to make sure that I was still with everybody. And, uh, what the Lord brought to my attention is that I love you. You are a good person. Prepare yourself for the future. Well, I had no idea what that meant either. And so here I am again, just kind of waddling through the water. But there were so many ministers that ministered to me because of their loyalty and love and dedication to God. Now, when the first time that I really realized that uh, Jesus Christ really loved me, I remember the room filling up with so much love. You could slice it like a piece of cake. And the aroma to me was also sweet, but it also smelled like roses. Maybe that's because that's my favorite flower. I don't know. But, I remember this and that and different things that took place in my life as I was maturing. And having said that, God's not only crazy about me, he's crazy about all of his children. He doesn't care who you are, where you live, what your occupation is, what your education is. He loves you because you are his. He is rich in mercy and compassion, and his great love for all nations on earth and in heaven that has gifted us with grace and kindness through our belief and faith in the birth, life, death, and resurrection of his Son, Jesus Christ. Every humankind reflects God's image, and God knows each person by their name. May we hear, look up, bow down, and respond to his voice. Now, Jesus is our peacemaker. He's encouraging each person to deepen our relationship with the Spirit of God. Jesus is the barrier breaker who destroys all that divides and separates humankind. Through him, we have access by one Spirit to the Father. The barriers on the Temple Mount are symbols of division between nations, and the veil of the temple symbolizes God's unacceptability. Now, destroying those barriers and setting up equality among all Gentiles and Jews was the critical point of conflict between Paul and the apostles in Jerusalem. However, conflict and persecution couldn't change Paul's conviction that Christ's salvation is for every nation. Paul was known as Saul at one time. He was a ruthless, aggressive tax collector, and no one wanted him to be knocking at their door. And if they thought they could get away with it, they wouldn't answer it. And maybe we all feel like that around tax time. I don't know. One day, Saul was high up in a tree watching Jesus, his apostles, and the followers coming down the road. He wanted to hear what Jesus was saying to the people. As he listened, the Spirit of God fell upon Saul and changed his understanding of God's love. God's love is for all nations. Every person is of worth and inclusion for all in God's family. Saul realized he too was part of that household of God. Saul became a sojourner with Christ and became known as Paul, a disciple of Jesus Christ and a beloved apostle. Now, Paul was bold and confident in his understanding that the Jews and Gentiles are family in the household of God. They were not strangers and they were not foreigners. In Ephesians chapter 3, Paul states, he is a prisoner for Christ for the sake of the Gentiles. Now, in verse 14, he continues, for this reason, I bow my knees before the Father. Now, bowing the knee was a symbol of loyalty and service to a king. Paul's relationship with his neighbors was directly connected to his loyalty and worship of God. At the heart of Paul's devotion to God was the recognition of God's love for all nations. Arguments by the Jewish apostles nor persecution couldn't change his conviction that God embraced all people and everyone is included in God's family. In ancient times, now the Father named the children. The name was not just a label, it was a complete identity, character, and will, where every person is created with an independent will and can live in the character of the divine. Now, this says that that was in the ancient times. Uh, Maybe to some of you, I'm ancient, but my father gave me my Native American name, which is Whispering Hope. And the only thing I can say about that is whispering must have been the time I didn't talk much. But hope was, I still had a lot of hope in Jesus Christ and his salvation. Now, Christ lives in our hearts, who changes and transforms each one with love beyond understanding. And I'm almost certain that everyone sitting in here recognizes that and feels his love with you. In Paul's prayer, he asks that our character shine for others to see the indwelling spirit of Christ's love, and that we, as his fellow disciples, may come to understand the greatness, the breadth, the length, the height, and the depth of divine love, so we can live in the fullness of that gift. To know love that is beyond knowing is a paradox. We know God's love by experiencing it personally. Knowing occurs through the Spirit living in us, transcending our limits and transforming our inadequate responses into offerings of a life of a disciple. Our prayers are limited words. In Paul's closing prayer, must be the weather. He acknowledges that God's blessing goes beyond our words and transcends the limits of our imagination and yearnings of needs and possibilities. God responds from the divine perspective to carry and fully more than we have asked for. The church exists to point towards God, not itself, just as Christ came to point the way to God. Now, in closing, I would like to leave you with a quote from W. Grant McMurray, given at the World Conference on April 3rd, the year 2000. A transforming faith, a call to discipleship. Quote, let us venture forth, brothers and sisters, into the new day that the Lord has made. Let us together as a community committed to the Christ walk the path of disciples, for only that path leads us from the limitations of our own minds to the expansive and marvelous frontiers God has promised to those who respond. They were fishermen mostly, and they stood by life's unresting sea. They became disciples in one mystical moment of transforming faith where they laid down their nets, lifted up their eyes, hearing for the first time the words of Jesus, who said only this, follow me.